So let me introduce you to my friend and colleague Kev.
Hi Rachel, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. You?
Yes, I'm happy.
Good. I just wanted to, obviously we're living in very stressful times, so this is your attempt to help us have a lesser stress, like a stress-free life, really. What are the sort of main points? Why do you think we are all so stressed at the moment?
Well, I think that we don't really help each other as much as we used to. It's not the common bond. Everybody's on their own.
Yeah.
Well, if you've ever been on a train or a bus or walking along the streets, you see them all in their little worlds with their headphones on. And what we're doing then is we're going to complete strangers, counsellors, and paying them to look after our stress, where perhaps 20 years ago you would have gone down the pub with your mates.
Yeah. I guess sort of, the sort of world we're living in as well, with the economy difficult, people have got worries about jobs and that kind of thing, which just makes people even more withdrawn again.
That's correct.
I think also one of the problems is with modern communications, we know everything that's going on throughout the world all the time, don't we? And most of the things which go on, and I'm talking about all the sort of bad things, which obviously are headlines in the news, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it.
No.
Years ago, no doubt all these bad things were still going on around the world, but we didn't know anything at all about them.
Yeah.
So for the average person, we've got so much more to worry about these days than we ever had years ago, which we can do nothing about. For a lot of people, it just gets worse and worse, I think.
And people like to be in control, don't they? And I guess if it's something that's completely out of their control, it just makes them even more stressed.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. You see people flying. They have an absolute fear of flying because they're not in control of the aircraft.
Yeah.
If they asked me to be in control of a 747, I'd be a lot more panicky than just sat there having a cocktail.
So how do you actually sit down then and think, right, how can we help these people who are stressed? What's the kind of first thing that most people need to do?
I think the first thing they need to do is to stop.
Yeah.
When people have got a problem, they seem to think, oh, I've got to do something about it. Rather than just sit down and have a think and analyse the problem. It's a bit like the fight and flight that you have with a gun of adrenaline. You think you've got to do something, and doing something is perhaps not the answer.
Yeah.
Think about it, and then ask yourself, can you do anything about it? Which may be, and then if you find that you cannot do anything about it, well, is it worth worrying about?
Yeah.
And if you can do something about it, find a reasoned response rather than just do something wild.
Yeah, okay. And when you sort of sat back and had a think then, and there is something you can do about it, what do you suggest next to do? I guess it depends with what the problem is really, but, in simple terms.
Well, try and do it, because if you keep yourself occupied, you're not going to dwell on your stress.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, and if you can't do something about it at that moment, well, go and do something. If it's only wash the car, you should be doing something to keep your mind occupied and stop dwelling on things.
Yeah.
This is the main problem. I mean, I know these people are very stressful about their mortgages when they're doing skydiving. One thing does take over from another.
Yeah. So give yourself sort of a diversion in a way and think about something else.
That's right, yeah.
You need to give yourself time to come to a clear decision on what your action's going to be, rather than just diving in.
Yeah.
And diving in, okay, could be the right thing, but the chances are you've done the wrong thing.
Because obviously stress, it affects people from the fact that they're worried all the time, but then I guess it stops them sleeping and then makes them feel ill. It's kind of a vicious circle, isn't it?
That's right.
You just think, take a step back and look at the situation and not rush into anything.
Yeah, you can offload your stress. I think there's one thing in the book about writing your stress down.
Yeah.
Just throwing it away. It's a cathartic sort of way of getting it out of you, if you like, a sort of confession to yourself.
Yeah.
And just getting rid of it and trying to get yourself a good night's sleep, because even if you're unstressed and you live the life of some hermit on top of a mountain, if you don't get any sleep, you're going to get stressed anyway.
I mean, in our book, we cover an awful lot of things which will help people control and reduce and alleviate their stress.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt about it that writing actually is an extremely powerful tool to help get rid of past and present stresses, and also using it to help you with, what your thoughts and aspirations are for the future. I mean, going back over many years, I've seen so many people who have used this writing tool to eliminate past stresses and worries and so on. And
Yeah.
I have recommended it myself to loads of friends and associates and so on. And they follow the simple little instructions which we've got in the book as to how to do it. It's amazingly successful. It really does work. So, I recommend that one to anybody.
Okay, because obviously, write it down. It's doing everything really, isn't it? It's making somebody sit and stop and think and actually kind of analyse what's going on.
Yeah, but if you're going to make a note of it, just look at the way, the sort of little rules we give for doing it in the book. I mean, they're very simple, but the important is write it down.
I'll have a look.
And that's one of many, but it's a particularly powerful tool which really does work and help people with their stress.
Okay. What other tools are there in the book that you think are particularly powerful and effective?
One of the really good ones is the bed stretcher exercise. Before you get out of bed, just quietly stretch your body.
Yeah.
And it works in two ways, obviously, to stretch your body, so because that means if you don't rush to the toilet first thing, you tear a muscle.
Yeah.
Secondly, it brings you slowly into the world. I mean, it's a bit like, we just had the Olympics, you've seen all these runners stretching for their big race. We're really just warming up for the rat race and getting out. It's a good way of just creeping into the world, because sometimes the alarm clock goes off, you think, I'll do an extra 20 minutes.
I think we would say that three of our sort of key tools, if you like, are starting the day right, and that's just as Kev says. When you wake up in the morning, you go through a few mental and physical things in the bed. It literally is only going to take 2, 3, 4 minutes, but it sets you up for the day mentally and physically. There's another one which we call hit your pause button.
Right.
And take regular timeouts. And this is recommendations for little physical and mental exercises we suggest you do during the course of the day.
Yeah.
Now, it's up to you how many you do, and it partly depends on, I suppose, what your occupation is. I'm sure you would probably agree with me that during the course of any day, we all build up stress and tension, depending on what we do.
Yeah.
And these little exercises we recommend are amazingly successful and just help people keep their stress and tension down to bare minimum throughout the day. And it just gives you so much more energy. So that's the second core habit. And the third one is going to bed right, which is finishing off the day. And there are simple little routines which we recommend for clearing your mind and getting yourself in the right attitude to go to sleep, and a lot of very good suggestions for helping people who can't sleep, i.e. insomniacs.
Okay.
So there, if you like, they're the
kind of main...
They're sort of three core things, and associated with all those are lots of the other little tools which we have there. So it's not, none of them is sort of just one exercise you do. It's a mixture of things. But there's a sort of whole menu, if you like, of stuff which people can do, because everybody will perhaps take a different take on some of them. Some will like others more than other ones, and so on. Okay.
And are these ones that you've kind of learned over the years yourself, or...?
Well, to be frank, I'm not saying we've invented every single one. Nobody else in the world's ever come up with anything, but we've developed them all ourselves to one degree or another, and I think we've presented them in a different way that other people have.
Yeah.
And I think we've presented them in, frankly, what is a simple way, which your average person will understand and we believe can take on board relatively simply over a period of time.
Yeah.
You know, we've made a big play about the whole business of that you don't have to go to a gym, some sort of club, to get fit. And we do give an analysis at the beginning of what we consider fitness to be for the average, the average person. And you don't have to go out trying to train to be an Olympic athlete to become fit.
Yeah.
We just stipulated some basic rules of what fitness is. And if the average person can maintain or achieve them, then God willing and all that sort of stuff, they should have a nice, fit and healthy life in body and mind. And that's what we're just trying to get people to do.
It's almost like going back to basics a bit, isn't it? And, just taking a step back and a deep breath and...
Well, you've got to remember that despite the proliferation of gyms and so on around the country, the vast majority of people still do nothing. And you've only got to look at the horrendous statistics on the increase in obesity. I mean, the figures are horrendous. Most people do nothing. Most people are turned off by gyms, either because they can't afford them, or even the ones, and the joke is, of course, so many people who sign up for a gym, they pay their sort of monthly subscriptions, and then don't go.
And that's it, isn't it?
You know, it's a laugh. So we're trying to give an alternative, which will say to people, okay, you can do all sorts of stuff without having to go to a gym, without having to go to classes, and it'll get you up to a certain point of fitness. If you want to carry on and do more, then absolutely do more. But, you know, you've got to start somewhere, and we're making it as easy as possible for people to do something.
So do you still both do your Aikido? Is that still something that you do?
Yes, we do. Yes.
How often are you doing that?
Well, theoretically, twice a week.
Yeah.
But obviously that can vary. I mean, to be honest, I haven't done it for the last couple of months because I pulled a muscle and just been busy at work. But normally, yes, twice a week we do it.
Yeah, and that made a difference for you when you started to do it then?
Well, certainly when I started to, because Kev's always been a pretty fit guy, but for me, yes, I hadn't. I mean, I used to do sport when I was younger, but for whatever reason it stopped. Yeah. And then I was just very unfit.
So not so now?
Well, considering my advanced years.
How old are you now?
Oh, that's a state secret, but how old am I? 68. I'm 68.
Okay, and then what about Kev? How old is he?
Oh, he's a mere child. He's only
47.
47 years, yeah. So yes, we're still physically active.
Yeah.
And I suppose Aikido helps keep the cobwebs away.
Yeah.
But I have to say, we haven't just written this book, we actually do all the things which the book says, and we've
done them all, really.
Cajole and persuade everybody else we know to do the same sort of things. And I can only tell you, we get positive feedback from people doing them.
Yeah.
And I know you're probably a very busy girl, and you just had a quick look through the book. But if you want to take the chance to, have a proper read through it.
Yeah, no, I will.
I guarantee you'll find a few things which you'll say to yourself, I could do that. It's now up on Amazon in digital form and now available as a physical book.